Hello, my microphone was off. It's so annoying when that happens. So I'm saying hello, YouTube and Rumble worlds. Yes, I am doing this live stream to both worlds at the same time simultaneously. This is going to be a very serious live stream. I'm shaking over what just happened, um, but it's important. It's important that I do this. Um, so I'm gay, and well, it doesn't really matter. I was the first openly gay boy in my high school in Vancouver, BC, Canada, in the 1990s. Okay, and let's just let me make this small because I want to be able to see me too. Um, Here, how do we do this? I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna I'm gonna crop this image further. So I'll just talk while I'm doing that. Okay, so I was the first openly gay kid in my school, gay boy in my high school back in the 90s. Okay, and I was picked on, but like before I was open about it, I had been picked on for being gay. I mean, how did people even know I was gay? I mean, it's not like I was coming on to any of the boys or anything. I mean, they targeted me because I stood out because I was feminine in my mannerisms and my speech. I'm just very effeminate. I also, in addition to being gay, I have gender dysphoria. So that's what they were picking up on, really, the other students, the other kids in the school. And so it actually started when I was in elementary school. And if I was always picked on, but when everyone got closer to adolescence, like when adolescence started, like around grade 6, that's when the the picking on that I was experiencing started to have to do with that I was gay. Um, copy. So I mean, it was pretty brutal what I went through in school. I had kids wanting to beat me up. I had rocks thrown at me. I had shit literally thrown at me in a school camping trip. Um, I was never beat up though. It's because like after school, high school, like there were kids who wanted to, but I always got away. Like I was a really fast runner, and they never were able to get me. I was very very I'd leave school like right away too as soon as the bell rang. Like I was very cagey. I knew how to avoid them, and so that was what I went through, and it made it. It's quite a long story. I'm not going to get into it. I've already gotten into it. You can listen to my live stream that I did yesterday, which is a reading of this Polar Bear Diaries, which is the name for my autoethnography that I wrote in 2006 for a university course at Simon Fraser University. The autoethnography just basically means life story, like self ethnography, self story. Um, and This was for a sociology anthropology course, uh, undergraduate course. I think it was first or second year course. And the lighting is quite bright. I need to fix that, but whatever. Um, and Of course, I got an A plus. It's. I mean, I wrote it for that course, but I referred to my diaries that I kept as a kid, uh, still have to this day, and so I was quoting from my diary when writing this, and it certainly is a moving story. It had an impact on the professor who taught the course, and she asked several students to read their autoethnographies to the class. Certain students were invited to read theirs to the class, and I was among those students. And when I read mine, I mean, it was a therapeutic experience for me, actually, I would say. But when I read mine, the class, many students in the class were moved to tears. I mean, they were crying when they heard my account of what I went through in most of it is high school, although it does start in elementary school. Like they were crying. I mean, I could cry when I read it too, although I'm so familiar with it that it doesn't really make me cry now. I don't think I've healed from that for the most part, I think. And in fact, what I went through back then is a great source of strength for me, because it made it so that I absolutely know how to stick to my principles, stick to what I believe to be right, despite, the whole world can be against you. It could seem that way. Like in high school, I mean, all the students, it seemed like just about all of them were against me. And, but I still stuck to my, I still kept my dignity. I didn't ever give in to the stupidity and hate that was being thrown to me. I was always able to rise above it, and that was as a kid. Okay, with no support at all, I was able to handle that, and it made me very strong, which has been necessary to face the challenges that I've had to face as an adult. So it really is a source of strength and a source of pride for me, even though it is a sad, difficult story. So a few years ago now, it's one of the first videos that I made. I put it into a video that can be posted on YouTube. And I'm reading it in a computer voice, though. You won't hear my actual voice in there. And I've changed all the names of everyone in it, just to protect their anonymity. I have actually no ethical obligation to do that, because it is my story, and nobody has signed any research consent forms insisting that they be anonymous. But I just do that out of courtesy. I just think it's the right thing to do. So some people may not want their identities exposed, and I respect that. So I changed everybody's names in it, and including my own name. So I'm in this one, I'm called Robbie, which is kind of like Tommy, and because my name is actually part of the story, because I was always known as Tommy. And then when I went to high school, started high school in grade 8, my mom said I should change my name to Tom. It sounds more masculine. Okay, so people all through high school, they all know, even to this day, they know me as Tom. And then when I started going to the Gay and Lesbian Center youth group, when I was in grade 11, I came out as gay, and some of the gay kids there, they told me, oh, now that you're coming out, you'll have to pick a new name for yourself, because everybody has a new name when they come out. It's their gay name. So not true. I've never actually heard of that ever since, but that's what I was told. And so okay, well, I'm going to change it back to Tommy then, because I never felt right with Tom anyways. But I changed this time with a different spelling. So I was Tommy, Tommy, as a kid. Then when I came out as gay, I went to Tommy, Tommi, with a heart on top. My goodness. How cringe is that? But I went by that name even into my early 20s, until I matured and thought, nah, I don't like that. And I just went to Tommy with the traditional spelling, Tommy. Of course, legally, my name is neither Tommy or Tom. It's actually Thomas. Okay, so in this one, I am called Robbie or Rob. This kind of works. It's an equivalent. But I'm doing this live stream right now. So I did the live stream. I live streamed this yesterday on both YouTube and Rumble. And then today, I just attempted to share that live stream on Facebook, and I get what you see right here. So this is what I wrote. I was making it publicly available, so you don't have to be on my friends list. Just the whole world who's on Facebook, whoever's on Facebook, would be able to access it. I put some hashtags below, and it's pretty innocuous. Like, I don't know what the big deal is, but you'll see down at the bottom there in red text, it says, a security check is required to proceed. This is what Facebook does when they want to censor you. It's happened to me a few times now. A security check is required to proceed. Okay, let's do the security check. Like, what is the security check? How do I do that? Facebook doesn't show that, doesn't provide that. I don't know how to do the security check. I don't know why this would be required. I had already posted several YouTube videos today before posting this one. Those would be my standard music videos, all for Madonna songs, remixes of Madonna songs. I posted all of those, similar with a little, maybe a quote from the song and then hashtags below. And I posted those with no issue. So those were allowed to be posted without any security check. But as soon as it came to me sharing what I went through in high school with overcoming homophobia and discrimination and quite serious, harmful, like people really wanting to do harm to me, and talking about that, and I'm sharing that story, and that's when Facebook puts the brakes on me, and says that a security check is required. You know, we can't even say that, like, there's nothing politically incorrect here. This is at this point in time, I mean, it may have been controversial to be coming out as gay as a teenager in the 90s. It was, but now in 2024, that's not controversial. Like, there's nothing controversial here. It's just my story. So I don't know what the problem is. Other than the only thing, I do know what the problem is, though. The problem is that I am a Trump supporter, and I was talking last night in the live stream saying, you know, at this point, I don't even know what Trump is standing for. Like, I don't have to support him on the day-to-day issues that come up. I have been persecuted so much for being a Trump supporter at this point that it's become part of my identity, part of who I am. So that's who I am, and you know, I've lived a very hard life. I do have some opinions that would be regarded as politically incorrect, and I state them. I don't hide them. I don't censor myself. I try to do it, though, in a way that is respectful. Like, I'm always trying to be respectful. So I don't go out and call people nasty names, or I don't try to put anyone down, whether I'm calling them a name or not. Like, I try to be nice to everyone that I interact with and try to be respectful. And ultimately, I am trying to come up with what is best for the majority of people. So my opinions are actually not just based on my own narrow self-interest, but really what I think is best for society at large. So sometimes that could go against my self-interest even. Okay, so that's how I see it. I mean, I'm not going to go through all that stuff right now, but I mean, if anybody wanted to debate me, they could, and I might change my mind. If you had really good points to make, really good arguments, really good points, you might be able to convince me to change my mind, because I have changed my mind on issues before. Like the whole thing of just, I used to be identifying as somebody who was on the left wing, and but I'm not anymore. So, you know, I changed my mind. That's an example right there of how I changed my mind. and I can change my mind again. I'm a free person, and so if there's new information or something, I see something in a new way that I didn't see it in that way before, then I would indeed change my mind. I am open-minded, okay, and so that's my situation. So I do have live streams on YouTube where I'm saying things that could be regarded as politically incorrect, and I've shared those on Facebook. And so that's the only reason that I can think of as to why Facebook would do this. Okay, they wouldn't do this to just any gay person. Okay, any gay person, any gay, like, because coming out story is a suggested hashtag. Like, I don't even need to type out that hashtag in full, and as soon as I start typing, like, Facebook suggests it. So that means other people have shared their coming out stories, gay coming out stories, on Facebook as well. So that's not something that's not allowed on Facebook. It's just not being allowed when it comes from me. Okay? And that would be because of this Trump stuff and politically incorrect stuff. But so you could call it Trumpophobia, but it is truly is an example also of homophobia, because a straight person who is a Trump supporter would not ever have to go through this, right? Like, a straight person, they can change their politics. They can go from being left-wing to right-wing or whatever it is. By the way, I don't consider myself right-wing either. That's for another discussion. I'm just an independent. I'm neutral. I'm not neutral, but I'm independent. I'm not left or right. Some opinions that I have might be considered to be left-wing, and some opinions that I have might be considered to be right-wing, like individual opinions could fall into those categories. But for me, overall, as a person, I don't identify with either one of those. I think that the world is too complex for a binary like that. But anyways, that's not what I want to talk about today. But the point that I was trying to make is that I did used to be left-wing. I used to identify as left-wing, and I don't anymore. And straight people can make that change without this kind of thing happening to them. So if you're straight and you say, I'm left-wing, and then you change and say, no, now I don't want to be left-wing anymore, and you're still able to, you're not going to be denied talking about your sexuality. Okay? You're probably, if you go from being left-wing to right-wing, or being a Trump supporter, and you're straight, I'm sure you're going to be facing all sorts of negative consequences and repercussions, for sure. So I don't want to take that away from any straight Trump supporters out there. I know we're all under attack, but you're not going to be questioned about your sexuality. You're not going to have that, well, you can't be straight? What? How could it be that you're straight and you are a Trump supporter? Like, that just doesn't make sense. Nobody's going to have that reaction to you. Okay? But if you're gay and you do this, they are going to have that reaction. And I've had that reaction very explicitly. This is kind of implicit. It's implied. I'm reading that into what happened on Facebook. But it has happened explicitly on Twitter. I was on Twitter, and my Twitter handle was Polar Bear when I was trying to come out as a Trump supporter, and seeing a lot of similarities between my gay coming out experiences and what I was going through as a Trump supporter. And so that was why I was called Polar Bear on Twitter, and I did post this. This would have been around the time I made this video. That's why it's in a computer voice, because I went to great pains to protect my anonymity back then. I was actually not out as a Trump supporter. I did not feel that it was safe to be so. People were being attacked. I was living in downtown Vancouver, and people were being attacked for wearing Trump hats. So I did not feel safe with even putting my voice, that somebody might recognize my voice. So that's why I put it into a computer voice. Same with all of my Melania Trump fashion icon videos. Those are all in narrated in a computer voice because I was trying to protect my anonymity and my safety. Okay. So, but okay, it was back then when people would, and I had quite a large following. I came to have 5,000 followers on Twitter, which was the most that they would let anyone have at that time who did not have a blue check mark. And most of those followers just were highly supportive of me. And it really opened my mind, actually, because I thought that everybody on the right wing would be so, like, homophobic. So it really was helpful for me to see that, no, that I was actually being welcomed and embraced, and that I did not have to hide my sexuality among a right-wing crowd. Like, that made a mark on me. But it was in that context that, left-wing people on Twitter became very vicious and were attacking me and were questioning my sexuality, my sexual orientation. I was being told that I was making it all up, pretending to be this gay Trump supporter, but it's just impossible. There's no way that a gay person would ever support Trump, and and it got even way nastier than that. I can't really remember. I don't really want to. But again, that is something like straight Trump supporters go through all sorts of abuse, but not like that. Nobody comes in and questions your sexuality if you're a straight Trump supporter. Well, you can't be straight. How could that fucking be? Like, you're straight and you're a Trump supporter? Like, nobody does that to you. Or if you're talking about your experiences in high school, that you would be prevented from talking about that. Like, that part of it is happening because I'm gay. I'm a Trump supporter and I'm gay. So that is a form of homophobia right there. Because, I should have the same leeway with regard to my politics and my opinions, and to change my politics and opinions as a straight person would. And I don't, without this kind of thing happening. So it's to the extent that that I'm targeted for being gay, it's a form of homophobia. And it's coming from, in this case, it's coming from Facebook itself. So that's why this stream is called, I think I called it woke homophobia. It's the woke ideology contains its own homophobia within it, and this is a powerful demonstration of that right here. So I'm not able to share my story about what it was like to be a teenager, a gay teenager, and I would be allowed, and that's happening to me because I'm a gay Trump supporter. Okay, so it's discrimination on the fact that I'm a Trump supporter. Yes, it is that, and it's discrimination on the basis of my sexual orientation, which is homophobia. So Facebook is not as accepting as gay people as many would think. Okay, and this experience reminds me of some of the stuff that I've heard from really funny YouTubers, funny but serious YouTubers named Diamond and Silk. And they're hilarious. If you haven't heard of them, look them up. They're just so hilarious. It's been a while since I watched any of their content, though. I should look them up myself. But back in 2018, I was watching their YouTube content quite a bit. And they are two sisters in the United States who are black and who are Trump supporters. And they weren't always. They were Democrats before, and then they walked away from the left and became Trump supporters. And what they would talk about quite often is they would say, well, if you're black, the Democrat Party feels that it owns you, or that you must be loyal to this Democrat Party, and that if you leave the Democrat Party and support the Republicans, then you're going to get extra sanctions applied to you because of the fact that you are black. And they call it the plantation of the left. That's their terminology, Diamond and Silk. And that they had the audacity to leave the plantation of the left well, that really raises the ire of many people on the left, specifically because they are black. And the same thing, and Diamond and Selk have acknowledged this, the same thing happens to gay people. Okay, any of these minority groups that would have been seen as that the left has traditionally protected, the moment that you would walk away from that left, you really get an extra dose of negativity thrown at you above and beyond what a straight person or a white person who does the same would experience. And that's why, incidentally, Milo Yiannopoulos' book is called Dangerous. His book was called Dangerous, and he's making a similar point with that. Is that it's considered to the left, it's considered like somebody like him would be dangerous, because they're afraid that his example would cause even more gay people to walk away. You know, there's other ways that the left is homophobic, though, not just this. I mean, the whole transgender extremist movement it's terribly homophobic. So it's all about changing your physical body to match how you feel in your head. Well, right, so if I was to do that, I would be a woman, and then I'm dating men, so I would be effectively heterosexual. Like, that erases gayness right there. So I don't want to get into that right now. That would be a topic for a separate live stream. But there are, just to say that there are other forms, there's other ways that homophobia manifests within wokeness besides what we're seeing right here. But this is a powerful example of it as well. That's all I want to say. I had some chores that I was going to take care of this afternoon, but I'm thinking I'm not going to do that because, you know, like, it really is hard for me. It really is hard for me. There's a lot of pain, sweat, and tears that went into that Polar Bear Diaries, and when I'm not allowed to share it, it does reactivate some of that trauma. And I used to be the person who would just power through, but I recognize now that I'm getting older that it is important for me to, when I feel this way, to take a step back and just take care of myself. Some self-care, some self-love is in order for me for the rest of the day. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to blow off the person I was going to call. I'm not going to deal with that right now. All right. And it would be really awesome because there are people on Facebook who are on my friends list who would have been there in high school and elementary school with me when I was going through this. They don't have to testify that everything I'm saying in that is the truth. They wouldn't know every experience that I went through. But they know, generally speaking, that, yeah, that's Tommy, that's who lived through all that. They know that it is me. And so it would be nice if some of them would contact Facebook on my behalf, and they could be my security check. They could tell Facebook, yeah, this person is who they say they are. Why are you not letting them share their life story? What's the problem, Facebook? Like, it would be really nice if some of those people would stand up for me, especially since most of them did not stand up for me in high school when I was going through it. If they're on my friends list, they probably weren't out trying to get me either. They weren't my enemies. But a lot of them did witness homophobia being directed at me and sat and watched it, right? And according to some, silence is violence. So this would be an opportunity for those people to make amends for their silence back then by not being silent right now. And you don't have to agree with what I'm saying in that autoethnography. You don't have to agree with anything I'm saying anywhere. But you know I am who I say I am, and you could contact Facebook and let them know that I am who I say I am, and that I should be allowed to share my gay coming out story, my life story from when I was a teenager, coming out as gay in the 90s in a Vancouver high school. That's all I have to say for now. Thank you for listening, and peace out.